Oh my god, I'm talking about Marvel again. What year is it? That is crazy. Hello. Hi. Hi. If you don't know, I used to talk about Marvel before I talked about K-pop. I talked about a lot of things before I talked about K-pop, but I would literally just post about Marvel on TikTok and YouTube here. So we're throwing it back a little bit. Planes, trains, automobiles, buses, cars, babies crying, children screaming whenever I film. And honestly, the only reason why I stopped posting about Marvel on TikTok was because I fell out of love with it, which is really sad. Quick lore about me: Marvel was literally like the first thing I really got into, like consciously. I went to go see the first Captain America movie in theaters for my birthday, around my birthday. It came on July 20th, I'm pretty sure. My birthday's July 25th. What'd you get me? What'd you get me? What'd you get me? That'd be crazy if you got me nothing. I was 8 going on 9, I think. Or 9 going on 10. From that age to, I literally like, we were the family that would buy Marvel tickets in advance, pre-order them in advance, and go see them day of. I remember when the first Deadpool was coming out and I couldn't see it because I was in school and like the tickets were sold out for Friday. So guess how long I had to wait? I had to wait until the next day of Saturday. Like, it was very, very serious for me. I remember literally in class senior year buying tickets for me and my friends for Infinity War during class. He let me because I had a very good grade and I was a good student. So shout out to you. Like, no, like, it was very serious. When the first Marvel TV shows came out, I stood up until 3 a.m., which now that's not really anything, but like until 3 a.m. watching, discussing with my Marvel friends after. Like, I was the person that, like, Marvel was my favorite thing. My first tattoo is going to be Captain America's shield. Let me clarify what I was saying here. The last Marvel movie that I went to go see in theaters that I was excited about and had an overall good experience and time watching was Shang-Chi. And I knew nothing about that character, and he became like one of my favorite characters, and that became one of my favorite Marvel movies. I know that a lot of people feel a certain type of way about that movie. I think it's very interesting that now we're getting to this different conversation. I think it's very interesting that there are a lot of Chinese Americans, or just, yeah, I guess I've heard from Chinese Americans that they, and obviously generalization, but you know, the movie didn't really hit with them that much. And I'm just thinking of like, if it would basically be like if, you know, non-black people were like, oh my god, I love Black Panther, it was so good, and then like a lot of black people were like, which I don't know if they were, but I don't know, that says something. I don't know. Phase 4, and this is like an old picture that I have, but these Marvel movies did come out in this phase. It's just the dates are different. Yeah, phase 4 has really been a miss, which, you know, everybody and their mother has had that opinion and said that. I'm not saying anything new here. Black Widow I was so excited for, but Black Widow should have came out right before or after Age of Ultron that year. I think that was like 2015. Black Widow should have came out way before, and Black Widow just, like, the timing that it came out, it didn't make any sense because we know she died. We know she's not coming back, and it was like more of a side mission. They were setting up the Red Room, and they were setting up her, you know, lore and her past for such a long time, and they could have done it so well. And ironically, the 5 minutes we had in Yelena's past in Thunderbolts in this movie was better than how they handled the Red Room and that lore in Black Widow, that entire movie, which we'll get to. But yeah, no, Eternals I didn't like. Multiverse of Madness I didn't like. Thor Love and Thunder was bad. Black Panther 2, can I say it now? Was I in the theater crying? Yes. But if we take circumstances away and look at it just as a movie, it wasn't that good. Captain Marvel 2, I'm going to be honest, I didn't give it a chance. I think I saw parts of it, so I can't really judge that. I didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I heard it was really, really great. And I mean, I watched a breakdown of it. That doesn't mean I watched it, but I know what happened. And we're going to put a pin in that. LOL, Blade is on here. No, Quantumania, no. Fantastic Four is coming out Actually, for my birthday. Slay. Putting a pin in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because it will transition me to my official Thunderbolts review and why I think this movie did well and why I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did well. Right? I didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but I watched the breakdown. I know what it's about. And it was because for Guardians of the Galaxy, we're in space. We're jumping to so many different places and there's so much going on and it's such a vast galaxy and stuff. When you have zoomed in stories like that, especially in the place we're in right now with Marvel, which I'll get into, you need grounded stories like that. And that is one of the reasons and the main reason why I think Thunderbolts did so well. So it's been at least 3 years since I bought a ticket to the theater outside to go see a Marvel movie. And I was going to regardless. This was a last minute ticket, but I was going to regardless because Bucky, Barnes, Winter Soldier is top 5 characters for me. Okay. Ever since 2014, ever since Captain America the Winter Soldier, Bucky has and will always be one of my favorite characters, so they got me there. I also, who doesn't like Yelena? You know what I mean? Yelena is cool, but Bucky was the reason why my ass was in that seat. And then I heard great things and I was like, all right. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm not counting that as a Marvel movie. I also saw Spider-Man in theaters, but also, you know what those two things have in common? They're relying on nostalgia. Now let's be real now. Deadpool does very well, but if Wolverine was not in that movie, would it have done as well? Would it have garnered this much conversation? Absolutely not. If it was just another Spider-Man movie, which, well, Tom Holland was my favorite Spider-Man for a while, and now Andrew's my favorite. But, and this is not, once again, I say that to say, I love Tom Holland's portrayal of Spider-Man. I think he has the best portrayal of Spider-Man overall. I think one's better at being Peter Parker and one's better at being Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland is the best at combining the two. So I'm saying that to say I'm not a Tom Holland hater. I love how he portrays Spider-Man. If Andrew and Toby were not in that movie, would asses be in seats? Would people be freaking out as much? No. So I'm not even counting those Marvel movies because it wasn't a Marvel movie. It was Spider-Man nostalgia. It wasn't a Marvel movie. It was, oh my God, Wolverine's here. You know what I mean? So I'm not really counting those. So yes, I saw those in theater, but I'm not counting those. I'm counting these Marvel movies as we're not relying on someone else from 20 years ago to help us get asses in seats. So yes, that is why I say the last time I went to go see a Marvel movie in the theaters was a while ago. And I also bring up Deadpool and Wolverine because people were like, oh, we're back. And I was like, all right, we as people, we the people tend to just jump to conclude, like it was one movie. This too is also why I will never really listen to what people have to say because y'all are so fucking fickle. Y'all are so fickle. Y'all, oh, Marvel's ass, boo, boo, boo. One movie comes out and you're like, oh my God, we're back. Let's give it some time. Let's give it some time. Let's give it a couple movies, which I did. We did give it some time. And when I say we're so back now, am I the person that I was just complaining about? Maybe. I won't say we're so back. I would say we're so back in taking steps in the right direction. So, okay, let's get into what I have written down. Mind you, I wrote this as I was sitting in the movie theater waiting for the two post-credit scenes. So, even the way the movie, and this isn't going to be in order, I'm just going to be talking. Even the way the movie started in the beginning of the Marvel logo, being different was refreshing. So, you know, a lot of people, and, you know, Kevin Feige and, you know, all the staff that works on Marvel, they're not, I don't want to say stupid, which they're not stupid, but they're not like living under a rock. They're not Patrick Star. They know the reception of how Marvel is right now. Even Kevin Feige said, like, you know, yeah, we have been coming out with like too much stuff. You know what I mean? Because they're aware, they do things in subtle ways. And I think automatically right off the bat, having the Marvel opening be different already set this up in such a good way because everyone, the critiques and stuff is that, you know, Marvel is kind of I don't want to say the same, but like Marvel hits one note. And after years, if you're not evolving and doing something different, like You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think Marvel has been getting that critique for a while. It's one note, it's for kids, the jokes are corny, blah, blah, whatever, which, whatever, you feel how you feel. But automatically, the Marvel opening being different and like also having to do with the void, but like also like, you know, fading away and stuff was really, really great. Also starting off with a narration. I know a Marvel movie has started off with narration before. Oh, Thor. That's how Thor Ragnarok started off. I feel like a Tony Stark Iron Man movie started off that way too. I can't remember. You guys will let me know in the comments. But that was also nice too, because once again, we don't get that a lot. I wrote down, I feel like a lot of people have felt that Marvel has been in this weird phase where it's trying to find itself again, and they should lean into the fact that they aren't the Marvel from before. Once again, or not once again, but, well, I guess once again, yes, about Marvel hitting one note, but also at the same time, because Endgame and just Marvel in general up until, when did Endgame come out? 2019 has been so profitable and so not even successful in terms of money, successful in terms of it's just good movies. You know what I mean? Like, we're building up to something, which I'll also get more into later. But it's like, I don't know if some people felt like, you know, we're trying to reheat nachos and stuff, but we didn't get successful because we were doing the same shit other people were doing. We don't have Thanos anymore. We don't have this big bad. Well, now we do. But let's say we didn't, this was before we knew Fantastic Four was going to come out. We're kind of just floating around. We're not really going anywhere. We don't have an end goal. We're not running to a finish line. We're kind of just running. Also, I would like to add, and I'll give the example of the TV show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We were at that point, we didn't have a big bad. We didn't have anywhere that we were going. So, and on top of that, we know these smaller situations will be solved. We know at the end of WandaVision, it'll work itself out. We know at the end of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's going to work itself out, which it did. But once again, we know these small problems will be solved at the end of the TV show, will be solved at the end of the movie. We have that guarantee. So if we're not going and building up to something bigger, it's like, okay, well, this is solved. What now? It kind of feels like there's nothing. You know, and when we're running and we don't really have a destination, it's kind of like, well, you don't have the OG Avengers anymore. You don't have Captain America. He's in the moon. He's dead. Tony is dead. Black Widow is dead. Where's Hawkeye? No clue. I ain't got no clue. No clue. Hulk is here. Went to go look for his son. Well, I guess he found his son. Thor is here. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? This is not the same cast of Avengers we have anymore. This is not the same Marvel, you know? And it's like, lean into that. Don't reheat old nachos. Don't reheat old stale nachos. Because when you reheat something, it's never going to taste as good as the first time. How about we take the nachos and we crush them up and we melt the cheese and we put it in a pot and we mix it together and we create something different. We have new main characters and we're banking on new cast members. Trying to recreate what was done before isn't going to make it better. A lot of these niggas on the Thunderbolts just got drugs in them. Like John Walker, Red Guardian, Bucky, we just got drugs in us. And then Yelena, you know what I mean? We can fight. The only person that really like actually has superpowers, I would say, is Ghost. That's it. So to me, in my opinion, and then obviously Sentry, but to me, in my opinion, the not enhanced individuals weigh out the enhanced individuals. It is already from its inception just opposite. So let's just do something different. Speaking of the Marvel previous, we were already used to such a grounded Marvel. Every movie started off small because it was building blocks that built into the big climax, which was eventually playing. Every movie and every project now, to me, deals with the multiverse and starts big, and there's nothing to build up to, and that's when it feels like nothing's really important. Once again, we're running and we don't have a destination. Now we finally have a destination, but we were running for such a long time and there was just a bunch of shit that was coming out and we didn't have a destination. And going back to what did I say before that I was gonna come back to. We're like going somewhere. Once again, we had the big bad. Every single Marvel movie up until Infinity War and Endgame, it was leading to Infinity War and Endgame. Every single movie mattered. Every single movie, even the ones y'all think are shitty, like Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron is my baby. Age of Ultron is not bad. Fuck off. Was important. Every single movie, building blocks, it was important. And then when you have 86 TV shows coming out in a year on top of the movies and stuff, and it's like, it kind of just, it's oversaturated, and it's like, it kind of just feels like it doesn't matter. When I say we used to be more used to grounded stuff, it was because we didn't really have the multiverse yet. We thought Thanos was like the only thing. You know what I mean? And sometimes space would open up, but like, you know, chill, whatever. Keep us in the grounded stuff. Yes, one note. Yes, evolve. But also, if it ain't baroque, classical music, if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. If it ain't broke, don't break it. Not even if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it ain't broke, don't break it. I was talking about this to my friend, but the reason why we like Marvel isn't because they're relatable, because Thor can fly and I can fly. No. The reason why Loki is now, I would say, my favorite character. I used to be Captain America, but you know what that nigga did. The reason why Loki is my favorite character isn't because he's relatable and that he's a god and I'm a god. When I was younger, had the biggest fear. My biggest fear was being abandoned, being alone. I related to Loki in that. And I still, I don't have that fear anymore, but I see the younger version of myself in him. The reason why I love Captain America was not because I also took drugs and like fucking muscular as fuck now. It's because I see the relatability in that I will never give up, no matter what. I'm not the type of person that does that. We relate to these characters because of the human sides of them, not because they have fucking super soldier serum and they're gods from Asgard. We need to be grounded in those characters because, once again, Marvel does this beautiful thing like wrestling too, where you're able, it's fake. Well, I mean, wrestling's different, but it's fake, it's not real, but you're still able to suspend your belief when the story is that fucking good. You're able to be transported into this fucking world. In order to do that, and in order to take a nigga who has a fucking vibranium arm, who was a sleeper assassin, who killed JFK and has a bunch of drugs in him and fell off a train and still managed to like be fine and survive. Like, we need to be grounded in his humanity. We need to like him for who he is as a person, or else this is gonna be like, bro, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, there have been maybe 2 or 3 times where I've been in a Marvel movie and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is happening? And you know when? The shitty ones. The last Thor movie. I don't want to say shitty, but like, it just wasn't good. But the bangers, now that I think about it, the bangers of Marvel are the ones where the storylines are most grounded. Where it's actually about, like, yes, Thor Ragnarok, his fucking planet's gonna explode and whatever. How grounded is that? I don't fucking know. But like, it wasn't really about that. It was about, what did Korg say? Home is here. That's a very grounded topic. You can find home in the people you love. And that movie was that actually could be considered like coming of age for adults. It was about Thor finding himself. It was about the god of thunder, not the fucking god of thunder. The fuck? Like, it was losing who he was and finding who he was. Captain America Winter Soldier, very, very, that plot was very just grounded and stuff. Going back to reheating nachos, I did not see the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Or that's not what it was called. I did not see the new Captain America movie, Brave New World, in theaters. I watched a breakdown of it, and that circumstances of its own with reshootings, and Seth Rollins was supposed to be in a blah blah whatever, so like, but I heard a lot of people saying they were trying to do like a shot for shot, which I could see in the trailer. They were trying to do this like political conspiracy theory thing, which was what the Winter Soldier was, and a lot of people were saying they were doing like a shot for shot remake of that movie, and it was like, once again, reheating nachos. Things aren't good because we try and recreate them. Things are good because we do something different. Anyway, back to grounded stuff. The movies that are really good are the Marvel movies that are really good, all of them have in common of it's grounded. it's grounded. Like, yes, it's about this, but the best Iron Man movie, a lot of people would consider Iron Man 3. He was dealing with anxiety and panic attacks. Very grounded, relatable experience to a lot of people. I said a little heavy-handed with the way that they talked about depression. It is Marvel, and I am not above critiquing things just because I like it. I do think that, you know, Marvel, they do have ways to deal with things that don't feel like it's like a 12-year-old figuring out what something is for the first time. Like, I mean, I haven't watched that Iron Man 3 movie in such a long time, but from what I remember, I think they dealt with mental health and like anxiety pretty well. This felt like a 13-year-old discovering what depression was for the first time at times, the way they were like talking about it. And like the scene with Yelena, and she was like, Daddy, I'm so alone. I went with my friend who loves Marvel and my other friend who knows nothing about Marvel, and they were both like, the acting was like, and my other friend who saw it without me was like, the acting was like, I felt like there were some parts where it was, I don't know. And I don't like saying people are bad actors. Obviously they're not. This is a great cast. I've seen everything all these actors have been in besides like maybe 2 people, and they are very, very great fucking actors. I think it was just maybe the lines that were written for them. I think it's more of what it was. The part where Century was fighting his own void was great. And like I said, I wrote it down. Very grounded movie. And also grounded in terms of the fact that a lot of it took place on the ground. You know, once again, we're so used to jumping between different multiverses, and we're looking up in the most recent Spider-Man movie and the fucking, not even the ceiling, the sky is ripped in half, multiverse of madness, we're jumping here, we're jumping there, we're going everywhere and stuff. This was a very classic Marvel Avengers movie where we're just in New York, which, bitch, I live in New York City. If I was in New York City in 616, I'm moving. Every fucking month it's something. Fucking Daredevil was some shit. And like, bro, bitch, what the fuck? The fuck? Curfew. The mayor's a psycho, which that's grounded in reality in New York City. And then fucking I go outside to get my fucking bacon, egg, and cheese at the bodega. And then all of a sudden I'm a shadow on the ground. Like, oh my God, fighting for my life. Anyway, but yes, this movie really took place on the ground. And it was also like we were grounded in our own mental, our own psyche, and dealing with, you know, shit like that. Once again, too, like my friend who literally doesn't really know anything about Marvel was tearing up during some of these scenes. Unfortunately, trauma is relatable. Relatable to a lot of people. There are people that I talked to that were like, yeah, I was tearing up during a lot of it. When we deal with more grounded stuff, Marvel is great because now, since we're going from grounded Earth to multiverse, it can feel like a lot when we do that with every project all the time. I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard about the concept of multiverses coming into the MCU, because I don't read comics, I was like, it was kind of like, okay, well, if this person dies in this universe, then like we'll just go to another universe and get them. It didn't really feel, I feel like the multiverse, to me, when I first heard it, made things seem just like not as important. Which, like, yes, we do have Loki, but it's not our Loki. But like it is, but it isn't. So it's like our 616 Loki dying didn't, now we have a new Loki. It didn't really take anything away, but it's like death is permanent. And I still feel like, I mean, well, like, you know, we still have a Loki, so it's like fine. I don't know if I still fully feel that way now, but yeah, like when every single movie is we're hopping from multiverse to multiverse, it can just be too much, you know? So when we have grounded stories like these, it's great. I feel like, once again, we're doing these building blocks like how Marvel used to do when we were building up to fucking Thanos. If you have these smaller movies in between that are grounded, because once again, honestly, for these next wave of Marvel movies coming out, this will probably be the last grounded thing. Because Fantastic Four is about to be this fucking Galactus crazy shit, and then they're fucking flying into a, well, you saw in the fucking post-credit scene, I'm assuming that their Earth was destroyed and they fucking hopped multiverses. That's not a grounded thing. And then the next 2 Avengers movies are not going to be grounded. So we really, really, really needed this Thunderbolts movie. Because once again, if we have this fucking multiverse jumping, space blah, blah, whatever, it's too much. It's too much, and it makes it not mean as much. So having this grounded shit where we can like actually just focus on characters and stuff, so we can come to actually love and give a fuck about these characters who a lot of people didn't give a fuck about. Bucky's an exception, but even then some people didn't really give a fuck about Bucky. But like Yelena, these are like second, I don't want to say background characters, but yeah, no one gave a fuck about Ghost. No one gave a fuck about Ghost. I did not give a fuck about Ghost at all. She carried that movie. Her and Yelena carried that fucking movie, okay? So to have them be main characters, like, you have to get us to care about them. And we're not going to care about them if they're jumping between different fucking universes. Who fucking cares? We see that in every fucking movie. Give us Grounded. Give us Depression. Let's talk about Taskmaster really quickly. Not that I really gave a fuck about Taskmaster, but like, that headshot felt so disrespectful. Also, I knew this movie was going to be something different when we literally had 2 headshots in the first like 10 minutes. I was like, oh, we're doing something different. The opening Marvel logo shit being different. The doctor, did he not shoot himself in the head? I said, wow, this is a Marvel movie? This is kind of fucking crazy. And then Taskmaster, headshot. Apparently, according to New Rockstars, Taskmaster wasn't supposed to die at all. She was not supposed to die at all in the original script, but then they just shot her. Which, like, honestly, like, I'm not, like, sitting here crying and, like, upset, but I don't know, the headshot definitely absolutely felt fucking disrespectful. And this was the, like, I don't know, Marvel's rollout with this movie was so messy. I don't know if I don't want to say they didn't care, but like, it was giving the Starbucks cup on Game of Thrones. Like, how the fuck do you miss that? How is it half of the trailers and shit coming out, you forget to edit Taskmaster in? Marvel, and here's the thing too, Marvel is so tight knit with these spoilers, bro. Like, Marvel, niggas will be given fake scripts so they don't spoil shit. For Marvel to put out trailers where they literally are so messy with the rollout and like spoiling if a character who's supposed to be a part of this Thunderbolts, this new Avengers, is not here, is fucking crazy. I don't know if they did that shit on purpose, because like, to think that Marvel would let anything slip through the cracks this publicly, this messily, is insane. But that felt so actually disrespectful. I don't even think she made it through the first like 15 minutes. RIP to a bad bitch. RIP to a real one. Marvel kind of breaking the fourth wall, and, you know, the people that work in Marvel being very aware. I felt like also this, you know, the void and the emptiness. This is me going on an Eric Voss New Rockstar stretch here. But I don't know if the emptiness and the void in the movie was also a meta commentary on the emptiness of how people have been feeling about Marvel, where a lot of people have kind of felt like we are in this void and Marvel is empty, and once again we're kind of floating and we're not really going anywhere, and a lot of people felt Marvel kind of lost its identity, XYZ. So if that was a meta commentary, sure. First part where Yelena was like fighting the doctor, and she was like, okay, you're gonna shoot me, and then you're gonna miss, and then you're gonna tell me that, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, and blah blah blah. And then when they were like sharing their childhood stories, and they were like, this is not childhood story time, I have the worst childhood story, like, ha ha ha. Just because you're like acknowledging it doesn't make it better. Just because you're acknowledging that you're doing a overdone trope in a movie does not free you from the fact that you should still try and do that trope in a good way. It's not like, oh, look at that, they know what they're doing, but are they executing it well? Century? Listen, I'm gonna say this here. You know the Marvel, well, and this is to people in my age range, I'm 23, so you know the Marvel movie's good when you on Tumblr as soon as you get out. Me looking up Century X Reader. Century's fight scene, I need, and I know once again the post-credit scene is going to be about, which funnily enough, I'm currently watching the Vampire Diaries, and there's a similar storyline that's happening. You know, Century is going to have to learn to control. It's not about completely shutting out the void within you and the sadness and the emptiness within you. It's learning that, you know, it can't control you. And he thinks he is able to control it now, but you trying to ignore something and completely shutting something out because you're afraid it might come back in again, is it controlling you? So he has to learn that, you know, it's not about completely shutting out the void and the darkness and the sadness within you, because I wouldn't say those feelings are necessarily bad. I think they just are, and I think they just exist. It's just learning to have them and deal with them and learn that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel empty sometimes. Just like it's okay to be happy and it's okay to be excited. You shouldn't be giving one feeling more weight than another, you know? So look at me, TED Talk. But when Century finally learns to like control his feelings and stuff, we need to get these crazy fucking fight scenes, because Century's, it wasn't even a fight scene. A fight is like, it has to be two people like fighting each other. Century, like, oh my God, Bucky, we need a different arm. Because that shit got ripped off you like 2 or 3 times at this point. Like, we gotta make it surgically attached or something. Because, goddamn, you need more than one arm. Like, bitch, what the fuck? Anyway, I was like, oh my God, again when his arm got... But Century, I need to watch that again. Like, that fight scene was badass. Where he wasn't even trying. He wasn't even trying. That was so hot. That was so hot. Him beating people up, so hot. But, like, no, that was so fucking cool. Because he's so... overpowered. Is he a omega level threat? I don't know. I'll probably read more up on Century, but he's very fucking strong. Cause I would like to see him fight some like superheroes, like Century versus Thor. I'm sure that's a thing in the comics already or something, but yeah, I'm very excited to see Century. I'm very excited to see Bob. I ship Bob and Yelena. I ship me and Bob. I ship me and Yelena. I ship me and Bucky. The whole team can get it, honestly. But yeah, I also want Bucky to have a love interest. I'm just talking now. I want Bucky to have a love interest. What's her name's assistant? Is that Songbird or some Marvel character or whatever? And they were talking. I don't know. I just feel like it's time for Bucky to get a girlfriend. 2 critiques I will say, and then I will go. There were really weird cuts. And this happened in maybe at least one other Marvel movie I saw. I don't remember what it was specifically. There were abrupt cuts, which is just not good editing. Which, once again, I don't want to shit on editors and stuff, because even me editing this YouTube video takes a lot of time and it's like fucking tiring and stuff. But I can say the editing is bad without saying the editor is bad. There were parts where like someone was standing here and then they cut away and then they came back and the person was here. It was like stuff that is very beginner level, which is why when it happened I was like, oh, like, this is a Marvel movie. And it's... I'm not going to remember the other Marvel movie that it was. But, like, I was like, oh, that's weird. And then also, too, the pacing... I don't want to say the pacing felt a little off. I think it was my own, like, assumptions and stuff. Because, once again, when they have these Marvel trailers, if you go back, you see all the Marvel trailers, usually what they're showing is, like, the beginning of the movie. They never really show anything that crazy. But I thought... Because, once again, it was, like... The face-off, Valentina. I forgot her name literally for 2 days. I finally just remembered her name. Valentina. We're facing off in the tower, Avengers Tower. Well, it's not Avengers anymore. But, well, I mean, it is technically the new Avengers. Facing off against Valentina. That felt like the boss level. That felt like the last fight. So the fact that it came so early. I'm a New Yorker. The fact that it came so early in the movie, I was like, oh. Which it wasn't the boss fight. It was the introduction to the boss. Overall, I would say 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. I really liked how grounded it was. I really liked that we weren't dealing with the multiverse. Because, like, I'm kind of fucking tired of it. I feel like I've been tired of it for a while. We're here and we're there and blah, 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 blah. Like, it shows, once again, Marvel can make a good standalone movie without banking on... nostalgia or baking on, remember this character from when you were 10? They're here, give me your money. Like, yeah, showing us once again that we can really actually give a fuck about characters that a lot of people might not care about, and, you know, dealing with grounded topics like, you know, delving into your own trauma and stuff, and, you know, the power of friendship and hugging Bob. I was like happy. I forgot what it was like to come out of a Marvel theater fucking excited. I have not felt that way in years, bro. Like, I was happy. I was jumping up and down, skipping to my loo, frolicking in the dirty streets of New York. Like, I was so happy. I forgot what this felt like. So, yeah. Damn, this video was longer than I thought it was going to be. But, yeah. Maybe I'll start posting about Marvel again. Who knows? The world is healing.